Hello, I'm Tom Cherryholmes of Errata Online, a computing service for retro computing enthusiasts, and you are listening to the Scene World podcast.
Grumble, grumble, Scene World podcast, grumble, grumble.
Ooh,
I'm AJ.
okay.
I'm AJ. That's Jurg. Welcome to the podcast. In a minute, we'll be talking with Mike Kilingbeck from Project P3OL, which is a retro AOL 3.0, I believe.
And 4.0 according to the homepage. Both,
right.
actually.
Yeah, so it's a way to get your vintage AOL install connected. Kind of like similar to Killingbeck Reloaded. I should have that on the C64 behind me, and I don't because I brains. But
never mind.
Yeah. So that's coming up in a minute. Before that.
But hey, I can put it in the post editing.
There you go. Just crop this half of the picture from an older podcast.
Exactly. Nobody will ever notice.
But in the meantime, we got some news and stuff.
Well, the only problem is this time you have part of the microphone in the monitor picture. But hey, I would have to make the microphone a bit smaller.
It's pretty too. I got to figure out.
Make it worse. Make it worse. Make it worse. So like half of the microphone is cut off. Like totally. Yeah. Nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing to see here. Yeah, I actually noticed that once in a YouTube video, people doing the same thing in the post editing, and this is like a 5 million subscriber music YouTuber, like a big person, and like, man, they should have more money for serious editing than having such a job being done by morons. But never mind.
Well, it's compositing and stuff takes a lot of skill.
And now you have half of your shoulder in the picture also. That will be totally beautiful.
Only half my shoulder? Oh, yeah, well. Yeah. I'll sit like
only
this.
half my shoulder? Woo!
Yeah, I'll just sit like this the whole time. Like, hey.
Totally natural position.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway. So we got some news, I think. Do you have news? I have news.
Right. Yes, well, Petroplanas made a new video called Tetris Kinda Fast on the guitar. So which is interesting because normally when we have news about him, it's always about synthesizers and pianos.
Yes, yeah.
Now it's about guitar.
He's pretty much a kind of Renaissance guy with music stuff. Like he's all over the place. He's, I mean, there's synthesizer stuff. There's some guitar stuff. I think there's other stuff he does as well. I mean, there's a whole bit where he plays a synthesizer with like a Game Boy by just mashing the Game Boy on the keys. But yeah, I mean, he does a lot of different stuff. The guy's got some skills.
Right. I mean, we used his music a couple of times.
We did, yeah.
Well, and other news I've got in one of the past episodes we had Devil's Hideout mentioned being available, which is a horror point-and-click adventure game available on Steam to wishlist, and now there's also a demo and a Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
So that's the news. Yep.
Nice. Awesome.
By Cosmic Void. So check it out. Nice. Yeah.
And what kind of game is that?
It's a horror point and click adventure game.
Okay. That's not bad. There's another game that I just saw that came out. It's similar to Gauntlet from what I gather. It's called
Gauntlet.
It's called Warlock's Dungeon. It's by a guy called Mark Weidman.
Nice.
And it's for the Commander X16.
Ooh, our 8-bit guy computer.
Yes. So, yeah, there's stuff coming out for that. That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And that's, I guess it's available. Yeah, it's the version 1 official release was
Awesome.
a couple of days ago, I guess.
Yeah, and the last bit I've got is Virtual Dimension, a German group of people that make, Amiga YouTube videos and stuff. They actually resumed publication of their German magazine. So in the post editing, I will put a picture there. So
What's the magazine
there's a
called?
new. It's called Virtual Dimension.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's easy.
I got it in the post. I didn't open it yet.
An actual
but
magazine, like an actual, like, real life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't open it yet, so I will make a screenshot or a photo of it.
Cool.
Put it in the post editing. Yeah, it's
Nice.
nice.
I'm still living on the old school.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that would be all my news.
Okay. Did you see this the C65 that went on eBay for $39,000?
No.
Oh my God! So a couple of days ago, a Rev 5, Commodore 65.
Fifth revision. Okay.
Yes. Serial number 71 was on eBay. Apparently, it's fully functional. It's the
Which
last
is rare.
revision. Yeah,
Which
the
is
last
rare.
revision they made. And it was put on eBay and sold for $38,696.11. Which,
Nice.
Whew, that's man, if you got $39,000 to kill, just buy a Mega 65.
Well, which is way cheaper. But
It's
anyway,
way cheaper, yeah, and does the same stuff.
so
In
it's
fact, I think
like
it does more.
getting a car or a Commodore 65.
It's like getting a car that because the thing with the C65, right, is that the C65 is cool. I love the C65. There is no software library for it. It's like getting a car.
There's one program actually which is a demo.
Right, but it's like getting a car that they don't make wheels for.
Well, I mean, there's one program on it. Obviously,
Yes,
they
right.
They made a demo for it. So
right. But that's not a use. That's nothing that you can. Okay, yeah, I can look at the one demo they made, but it's like I can't take it home and like do my taxes on it or regular stuff that you'd want to use a computer for, right? It doesn't have that established backlog of games like a C64 or an Amiga or an Atari or whatever would have. Right?
But here's what you can do.
Yeah.
You can actually if you have so much money, you can actually spend 90% on the money for the Commodore 65 and spend 10% on a Dacia car from Romania, because you can get that for 5,000 euros. So there you go. And this way you got both a car and the computer.
Right. Well, if it costs $5,000, you can get a Mega 65 in 8 of those cars.
I mean, the car is bad quality and almost falls apart. But hey, at least you have a rare computer with one program. You can run it. You can run on it. So
the Mega 65 conversely has all different cores and stuff that you can run off the thing. It's got extra features that the 65 doesn't have, and they are making stuff for it. Like there's a version of Geos that runs on it.
And the price, I believe, was 900 euros.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's a sub $1,000 computer, and again, the price is still kind of high, but what you're getting, again, they're making new making cases and keys and all the stuff for this thing. It's a whole computer that they're building. So you're going to pay a little bit for it, but it's worth it.
We made a couple of podcast interviews with them. By the way.
We should follow up with them too, because it's been a while, and they're still. I mean, they're producing them, they're selling them now. So, it's a thing. But again, I love the 65. I cannot, for the life of me, justify spending almost $40,000 on that. That is just. Mm.
I see.
I mean, again, if you're a collector, okay, fine, but that's collecting is not a. I've never quite understood the whole collecting thing. I say
Well,
as I've got a pile of stuff behind me that I've collected.
Well, I'm a collector,
Yes.
but I would never spend so much money regardless.
Exactly.
I don't have so much money, so anyway, it's out of question.
Yeah. The other thing here is, again, have you seen the 8-bit do retro mechanical keyboard?
Nope.
It is a retro mechanical keyboard which has a C64 edition.
Nice.
It is compatible with Windows 10 and above and Android. It's got some programmable
okay,
keys.
so it's actually for computers, for modern computers. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a. I imagine it's Bluetooth because I don't see any wires on the thing. But
I actually have a desk keyboard 6 Pro. So I actually have an American mechanical keyboard with cherry switches brown.
Nice.
So yeah. Now I totally knocked over the microphone, but never mind.
I've got a cheap as free Mac Ally light up keyboard. My good keyboard is over there. Yeah,
that's the thing. I always used as cheap as keyboards in the past, and I spent so much money on keyboards in the last 25 years that now I said, like, okay, now I'm spending the same amount, but just for one keyboard, which will hopefully hold for 10 years or longer.
Yeah, my good keyboard is on that computer over there.
Right. Okay, what else have we got?
I'm going to send you this. I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm throwing it in the chat here. Doing some live reaction in this. Well, this not live. It's live right now. Can you guys see it?
It's live right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like Commodore. The bread bin.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Has some multimedia controls as well.
Yep. No numeric keypad. But, Yeah. Whatevs. I don't know what those things on the side, the big joystick with the ugly buttons.
Yeah. Well, it's just a render anyway. Okay, so you can't get it without import taxes because it's only sold in UK or US. That's
okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Why do people think that Europe equals European Union?
I don't
know. Same thing with, we mentioned that before, the 8-bit guy. Oh yeah, I want to make it easier for Europeans, so I sell my stuff also from Norway. Like, bullshit! Then you can also send it from USA directly because both countries are not in the European Union. So the only advantage you have is faster shipping times. That's it. So, holy
Norway's
crap.
not in the EU?
Holy smokes. No, they are not.
Oh, okay.
And that's
they're not. They're not. I'll be damned. Look at that.
Yeah, you see, that's exactly the problem. That's exactly the problem.
Who else isn't? There's someone right in the middle of it that's not part of it. Who is that?
That's exactly the problem. Welcome.
Huh. There's a... Give me a map of Europe, please, computer. Who is that country? That is... Switzerland is not?
Yes, never was.
Oh, dang. I had no idea. Huh.
Welcome. Exactly. That's exactly the issue. So, thanks for nothing, guys. Thanks for nothing.
Neither is Croatia and Bosnia and wow. I didn't know that.
Just thanks for not doing the 5 seconds of research.
I do know that a lot of people in Croatia end up moving to like Germany and whatnot for work. because the economy is not great in Croatia. But I thought they were just part of the union. Wow, I've learned geography.
So
Geography with us.
so no keyboard for me because I'm not going to pay for that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. I don't. Even if it was available, I don't know if we'd get that keyboard. But
I mean, you can get it without import taxes. You are in the US.
I'm pretty good. I like my
mean,
keyboards.
They could have used any other place than the UK or Norway or Switzerland, but no, it's like, hey.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if there's a reason. I wonder if I wonder if there's like if that is like a something a way that those countries are compensating for not being in the union, like they're making it easier for people to sell out of them because they're missing
I mean, the difference
stuff.
here is between UK, Norway, and Switzerland that Norway and Switzerland were never part of the European Union in the first place because they never wanted. So, but the problem here is though they don't have an issue. They never had any support from the EU in those ways the UK had. No big deal. But for the UK, everything broke down. Healthcare system way worse than before. They don't have even truck drivers anymore because now it's so hard to work for a UK company if you come from Poland, Bulgaria, or any other cheap labor European Union countries that they don't have any people doing transport. Also, there is a regulation for fish imports, exports, and those regulations are also gone because now there is no universal standard anymore for import export from fish products. So the fish industry, the sea industry, totally crashed down in UK. The logistics industry totally crashed down. So a lot of things crashed down in UK since they left the EU. So
well, and the UK never really. I feel like they never quite. They kind of hung back. Like they never adopted the euro as the currency. They kind of always tried to stay on their own.
But this is not a key factor because Sweden has no euro either.
Oh, really?
And Sweden is part of the EU. So
yeah. I did not know that.
That's not the thing.
Interesting. Yeah. It's so odd. I think a lot of people in the US might think of the EU as kind of like the United States of Europe, and it's not.
It's not. No.
It's not. In the beginning in the US, the states were all kind of independent things, and they would do that sort of thing, print their own money and whatnot. But nowadays we're all pretty much homogenized under one national thing. Whereas like in Europe, you've got a bunch of different countries that are ostensibly in a collaborating with each other, but they're all still separate countries.
Right. So
which is interesting too. Because I was reading, because there's a lot of stuff going on in Russia and whatever, and people are kind of like nervous about something happening, and a lot of countries are now starting to rearm, and in the EU, you're seeing places like France is focusing almost entirely on. They're not increasing manpower; they're increasing their ability to deliver a nuclear deterrent, and Germany is focusing on one section. Each country seems to have something that it excels in, and that's what they're focusing their military, spending on.
And interestingly, there was recently an interview with France 24 news channel on YouTube with the French minister of abroad, the French foreign minister.
Right.
And it was like, okay, we are on France 24. It's probably in French. No, it's not. Who would have thought that France getting all those ministers and presidents being fluent in English? So, if you're interested in politics, you might want to check it out. Which is super interesting because the last thing our chancellor did was actually Olaf Scholz was actually going to the US to Biden and pressure him like, hey, USA, you have to deliver the weapons you promised, which is interesting because a year ago it was the other way around. Biden was pushing the German chancellor to say like, "Hey, where's your weapon delivery to the to Ukraine that you promised?"
Yeah.
And so the roles switched, kind of, which is interesting because I remember 10 years ago, whenever politicians would have to do something abroad, they would have like a group of translators with them and stuff. And nowadays it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
We can do it directly. So it's quite interesting that while we are getting more global, it's well, at least now we have politicians nowadays that can communicate with each other without any external help.
That's true.
Which I hope will improve things in the future. I mean, even what was his name? Zelensky, yeah. Even he is like fluent in English, and he's doing everything without any translator or whatever. It's like super amazing. And I always, well, what actually didn't happen, but I was hoping would happen is during the pandemic, I was hoping that nowadays the countries from all over the world would unite and work together to fight the pandemic.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Effort, but that didn't happen, unfortunately.
No, it did not.
Every country was doing their own little thing.
Yep.
And there you had countries like Brazil and America that weren't very successful in it, and then you had this one country that were like Sweden that were like, oh, let the elderly people be unprotected and die, like, and any other country was like, are you serious, Sweden? Do you really think that's a good idea? Yes, we are totally for it. And then after the
now there are 4 Swedish left.
And after the pandemic, the Swedish health minister was like, maybe we made a mistake being the only one. Like, oh, really? You know? I mean, seriously. So I hope whenever there's another pandemic, and we all know Bill Gates said there will be another one.
Oh, absolutely there will be.
Hopefully we learn from that.
We're not out of the old one.
Well, depends how you look at it. From the German standpoint, we are over it. We are now in an endemic, not a pandemic. So,
that means it's established. It's not a new thing that's hitting you. It's
exactly.
not as we've developed some kind of
immunity also.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's still around. People are still getting it. It's just not as bad as it was when it was first out.
And interestingly, Africa didn't suck so much in prevention and stuff, and the whole world was like, in Africa it's going to be the worst, and that didn't happen. Right. Interestingly, but from all the countries, it was actually Sweden that stood out of the crowd. It's like, whoo.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, I mean, Africa had one advantage. Actually, they were like having a lot of vaccine laboratories and stuff from the AIDS, HIV virus research and stuff that's going on there. They were like, okay, we are changing it, and now we are doing the same stuff for Corona. So.
Yeah, and I'll give credit to for all the listeners out there. I'm not a Trump fan, but I will give the guy credit in that he did push through the acceptance of the vaccines super fast. But normally it would take years to get that stuff approved and whatnot. And he was like, no, do it now.
Yeah, but not after he gave some questionable advice.
Yes, he gave questionable advice. I will, but again, for most people, for me anyway, like that he's just talking nonsense, and it's like if he tells you to inject bleach, come on. If anyone that heard Trump say inject yourself with bleach and then went and injected themselves with bleach, good job. Thank you for taking yourself out of the gene pool. That's cool. I appreciate
nice. that. How did we go from a keyboard to
I don't know.
Pandemic management? I don't know.
We've lost half our listeners.
Right. Well, at least less pressure on the web server.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, I guess that would be it, right?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Let's talk about old AOL days with Mr. Killingbeck.
Yeah, absolutely.
And bye. We have another guest, and this time it's Mike Kilingbeck from the Project P3OL, if I pronounce that correctly. And from
we call it Peel.
Peel. Okay, nice. From what I understood, it's like a recreation of the AOL service, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. That's the direction to.
So welcome to the
back
podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, I nerded out a bit when I contacted you on Discord at first, remembering that AOL used to have ICQ as well, and they used to have the OSCAR protocol for instant messaging, all that. Mm-hmm. So I remember back in the early 2000s, AJ was actually an AOL user, and I was an ICQ.
Yeah.
And we used to
had limited options.
Exactly. And we used to check what works between AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, and ICQ.
Well, I had AIM long after I stopped having AOL.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and as I told you, my mom actually found her new husband using AOL Germany sign-up client. Really? Because we used to have AOL modem connection back in 2000. In the year 2001. So... Yes, so that was
dial-up.
The triangle situation between AOL Instant Messenger, AOL Germany chat, and ICQ.
Yeah, nice.
So let's perhaps start with Mike. How did you get into tech and computers, and how did you actually get the idea to care about old AOL stuff?
Well, I mean, I started getting into tech like in 1983, I guess, when my dad brought home a VIC-20 for a Christmas gift, and I just basically watched him sit in the room all frustrated trying to program this game, and he kind of gave up and rage quit, and I went in there and I did it in like half hour. That was my first experience. And then I kind of like didn't do anything with technology after that. After my mom introduced me to an Atari 2600, it was gaming from ever since, all the time. But yeah, I don't know. I think it wasn't until about 96, 97, around there, when I finally decided I should really have a look at computers again. And then I just started buying pieces and putting them together to make my own. And then I got onto AOL. And then because of AOL and going into this, I found this chat room. I can't remember exactly what it was, like Whereas or something like that. Immediately got punted out of the room. And that's what started it. I was like, I want to do that. So, and then I learned how to program after that. And the reason why I started the Project P3OL was when the pandemic started. I had a bit of a job loss there, and then depression started happening, and I was getting into a really dark place, and I needed somewhere to go, somewhere to focus on. And I started searching around for AOL because why not? And then that's basically where it started. And I just realized that my depression was gone when I was thinking about being a kid and learning how to code and having all that fun and punting people for no reason, just being a general nuisance. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see if somebody's started the server up. Maybe somebody's got one going. I can contribute. And there was nothing. Then I just started black boxing the client until I made connection. It was like 3 a.m. when I think it was February. In February, 3 a.m. I was down in my basement just nerding out on this thing, trying to get a handshake from the client to my server. And I finally got one. And then the client kind of lit up and just, welcome to AOL. And I was like, ah, and it was like my Mark Watney moment from the movie Martian, where he's like trying to get contact with with Earth from the rover, and he finally does, and he's out there kind of trying to scream and yell, and there's nobody around. It's just him. That was my moment. Yeah.
And there's even a movie about that, about this "You've Got Mail" meme,
Yeah.
basically, which also
Yeah.
origins from AOL. Interestingly,
That's right.
yeah.
Remember
Interesting that you
something.
mention it, because at least I remember in Germany, the client was a pain in the ass because it would butcher the Internet Explorer and made some modifications to it and so on. So you could basically ruin your Windows installation if you are
Yeah.
unlucky with it. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember like having to install it on Windows 95. How many times it messed up my WinSock install and just screwed my connection up, and the hours I spent trying to figure that out. Yeah, I
Wow.
remember that.
And you went all through this pain, it's interesting.
Mhm.
Interestingly, towards the end of AOL in Germany, they actually made it possible to connect to the server, to the service, I wanted to say, without using the software, because of the major backlash they actually got. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. I didn't know
I don't
any
know
of
if
that.
the US had the same possibility, but
You mean
probably not.
like through the web, like through the browser?
Yes, you just could dial in the number directly
Yeah.
of AOL. I mean, it was a dial-up number, and then
dial up. Okay.
yeah, so you wouldn't need the software anymore.
That I
Yeah,
didn't know about.
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
Because
That
they
makes
had such a backlash here in Germany, but then 2 years later they shut down the whole service in Germany. So yeah,
yeah, that's neat.
yeah. I mean, so how deep do you go with the rabbit hole? Because as you mentioned before the recording, there's not really any contents anymore.
Yeah, there's like nothing. Like archive.org, a few people tried saving a lot of the whole file system before AOL shut down. So there's large dumps of old, I guess you would call them message boards data. So there's stuff from like 89 all the way up to 2001, 2002 in there of just old message board data. So files and old QBasic programs and uh, images and sounds. So that's about it. There's no actual pages other than like images that you would find searching the web looking for specific stuff for AOL. So pretty much everything needs to be recreated from those. And I asked we first came public, I asked people to check to see their old PCs if they had AOL installs, and to send us the databases where all this information was stored, so that we could pull out any assets or images and audio and forms from those, so that we could utilize those. But surprisingly, with all the databases we got, it's pretty much just all repetitive. So there wasn't a whole lot of stuff in there. So I've just been recreating everything. It takes a long time because I have to learn like this language called FDO91 in order to program all these forms out and everything. And yeah, it's been a lot of work. A lot of fun though. A lot of fun.
It doesn't actually sound that much different from what AOL is now, because my job, they actually still use AOL as their official mail. So it's
Oh,
whatever at AOL.com, and they pay money to use the client. But nothing works on it. There's no news. The messenger doesn't work. There's no chat rooms. The buttons are still
Yeah.
there. But when you push them, it does nothing.
Oh yeah, neat. I didn't know that. I realized that there was a web-based one now or something like that. I never
there's a
really
web-based
looked
one.
into it.
Yeah, but you can actually, if you pay a monthly charge, you can actually still use the AOL Gold software, which is mostly broken.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. Mail still works, and you can still use the web browser for whatever it's worth, but everything else is completely broken on it.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's a shame. Such a shame.
Yeah. Now it says you use there's two main sources of background information that you use to build this, which was a document written by God's Misfit, with that talked about how the protocol worked, and then an incomplete FDO 91 manual. Was there anything else like for instance, Q-Link Reloaded is running on the C64 behind me.
Nice.
Q-Link is what turned into AOL. So a lot of the networks a lot of the protocol is similar-ish. Were you aware of like projects like that? Did you use anything from that sort of thing in your background?
No, when I started, I had like tunnel vision, and it was just AOL specific. I didn't learn about like Prodigy and CompuServe and the Q-Link being associated using similar protocols and whatnot until like a year later. But when I went into research all of that, it was all using like older protocol stuff, so I couldn't, it was kind of useless for me. But yeah, it was pretty much God's Misfit with his the P3 protocol breakdown, his little write-up documentation, and then like incomplete manual of the FDO 91 language, and that's what I used. I studied God Misfit's documents, and then I took some packets that I had found somewhere, I can't remember where, of the protocol, and then I tried to manually break them down and decode them using the FDO manual until I figured things out. And then yeah, now we're here. Now I can pretty much watch the P3 protocol going along the screen like in the Matrix, and I know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, I saw that in the video that you've got on the Patreon page, where it just kind of in the background as you're doing different things, it just keeps updating the script in the background. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I wonder, however, the chat function of AOL must have been restorable, knowing that it is the very known Oscar protocol, and ICQ is basically still around, even though it's now owned by Mail.ru.
Does they still use Oscar?
Yeah, that's a question, actually. Do they still use Oscar?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, Oscar came around, I think, in when AOL 4 or 5 came out. That's when they started switching the chat protocols over to Oscar, if I remember correctly. I'm working specifically with AOL 3, where they had their own chat protocol, and it was called Whisper. And it was basically just token based, so you'd have like tokens and then a set string of data, and that would just redirect it through certain chat servers and whatnot to where it needs to go. And that's exactly how I do the same thing, except my back end is IRC. So I use an IRC server as my entire chat room and chat or instant message relay. So
okay.
That's awesome.
Because I started with 4.0, so I never knew the times before. Okay.
It's interesting because that's a lot like what Q-Link Reloaded does. They do have a chat implementation, but you can also access a regular IRC through it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look now.
I
did not know that.
Cool. Again,
Nice.
most of this stuff doesn't work. You can't upload files. Some of the message boards work. You can post, but there's nothing archived there from back in the day.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm working on as well, getting the message boards going. I figured out how to do the email stuff. So I've got the email working, except it's all internal. You can't send an email out unless, by the grace of God, I get a large sum of money and I can set up an MX server or something. But
It's
yeah, right now it's
interesting.
all internal.
It's interesting because what you are telling actually sounds to be a source of more depression. Be
Yeah.
having so little to work with, but you are actually saying it helps you
Yeah.
beat your depression, which is actually quite interesting.
As a coder, I understand that. It's the
Yeah.
trying
I'm
to
not a
figure it out
coder,
that's
I'm
fun.
just a user. Anyway, it's interesting because I actually when I contacted you, I actually had a look in Wikipedia, and I actually found a little comment in the Wikipedia article of ICQ that Mail.ru, when they took over the service from AOL, they actually made the Oscar protocol public domain for a few months before they shut it down completely. So
Oh yeah. So I believe I heard somewhere that there is source code for it around somewhere. I'm
yeah, there
not
must be, because there
aware
are
of
some
that.
clients still using it. Some
Really?
multiple clients, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if you really want to stick with 3.0, or if you say you also want to recreate the experience for people like me who use the later versions of AOL. So how do you go about that? Or do you plan to switch between the different experiences of AOL? As you said earlier, there are different level of technical implementations.
Right. Yeah. So when I started, I had started using actual AOL4. That's when I made my first contact. It was figuring out how to disable the secure handshake and then make contact. So I for some reason in AOL 3 and AOL 2.5, for some reason I couldn't get it to do that handshake, but in AOL 4 it happened. So I had started the server on AOL 4, and then it was after that I got contact with AOL 3, and I realized just how much easier it was to work with AOL 3 than AOL 4. So I switched focus over to that, but the server right now, it actually it works with like 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 7 or 8. Whenever AOL actually switched from using the P3 and TCP/IP over to the HTML based whatever. But I have 3 or 4, 5, 6 and all that disabled, just because there's no sense in having it enabled when I don't have enough content for 3 yet. And the way the 3.0 client works with the data, 4.0 is completely different. Like, it still uses the FDO91, but it also uses objects like tabs and grouping, which AOL 3 doesn't use. So you can't use those same protocol implementations with it. So, and it's just an entirely different beast, even though it's using the same FDO91. So, but yeah, I plan on once 3 is stabilized enough that you can get a bunch of people on there and they can have fun and be chaotic, then yeah, I plan on opening up 4, 5, 6, and then start working on that. But like I said, the content's not there, so it doesn't make sense. Just more of a headache, because then I'll have people talking about AOL 4 and this doesn't work and that doesn't work, and AOL 3 and this doesn't work and that doesn't work, and so yeah, and I'm just one guy, so. But yeah.
How many people do use it? How many people have signed up for accounts or logging into it?
Currently, I have over 250, I believe, people that have registered and have registered accounts. But I get maybe 1 or 2 people on the service right now, if that.
Right.
It was, when it first came out, it was like just this huge swarm of people coming in, like 1,700 people trying to get on, and use the service, and it just wasn't ready for that. So
It broke down. Obviously.
yeah,
Oh.
broke down quite a bit. But I mean, we had fun. It was fun. It was nice to see all those people there. But yeah,
Awesome.
it's not too many people using it yet. But I don't advertise, right?
Right.
So I'm
right.
not out there. I'm not out there trying to advertise and get people to use it, which I should be if I want to like spend more time working on this thing. Then having the extra income from people who want to support would be beneficial. But I feel bad about that because I'm not that kind of person. I don't like to ask people for money for things.
But that's what Patreon is for, right?
Yeah, it is. I know it's like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place.
And I mean, you have enough juice to work together with projects like archive.org and stuff, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
like
they
we've got
obviously have
proto-web.
resources that could help you and stuff, just saying.
Oh yeah, we'll get it going.
Yeah. So, how do you connect to the service? Because I imagine people aren't dialing up anymore. In fact,
No.
I found out about this because someone posted on a Facebook group. They had an old Mac they were trying to set up, and it had AOL, I guess 3 or 4 on it, and they were trying to dial up a local access number, and it wasn't going through. And someone suggested,
Right.
"Why don't you check this place out? This project works."
Yeah, well, there's after you install AOL in the install directory, there's a folder, CCL, and in there is actually where it holds all the connection protocols, like for certain servers and whatnot. And you'll want to find the one labeled tcp.ccl, and around line 7 there's americaonline.aol.com, and you just want to replace that with p3ol.ca or prod.p3ol.ca. Save it, start the client, and then you'll be able to just connect right up. It'll connect to the server, and then the server will start updating the client with all the updates that I have to get it to work more efficiently with the server. And then you'll go through either creating a name if you have a registration number or whatnot, or if you use the guest. The guest is supposed to be like how they intended it back then, was you would hit guest and it would bring a thing up a window where you would type your own AOL account and password and whatnot. Then you could use your account from somebody else's computer.
Right.
But how I have it working now is that if you do guest, you log in with guest, it automatically generates you a guest account username with a password. It saves it to your internal storage, and then you can just continue to use that one to
Sounds
to
like
log
using
in.
a cookie and stuff, right? A
Yeah,
session
kind of,
cookie.
I guess.
Session cookie. Yeah.
Right, but it stores it in the database, so
Ah,
yeah, you
okay.
could call it a cookie if you wanted to.
Yeah, but
yeah,
a cookie
that's
is
one way
local.
to give.
But
I'm
a
sorry.
local cookie, cookie is normally local to your own computer, but it's not in your case. If you say it's stored in a database, then it's actually saved in your database, so your server actually remembers the login data you gave to somebody, right?
Yeah, the server itself stores all this information.
Right.
Because it needs to authenticate through an OAuth. But
Right.
it's also stored on the local computer as well, on its own little database with the client.
Ah, yeah, I understand now. Okay, so what is the end goal? Do you also want to create new content and make it display and react as it would have been in the original AOA client, or do you want to have something like a time machine where people can go back to the 90s and early 2000s? What's actually the goal of your project?
A bit of both, actually.
Okay.
I want to try to I want to try to give new people this day and age the experience of what we had when we were kids, teenagers. Plus, I want to be able to showcase new content created by the users once that becomes available. They can create their own content. Specifically, I think we're kind of focusing towards the retro scene because that's pretty much the people that are going to be using it. So they can create their own sites for the service where they can showcase their work or any of that thing. So I want a bit of both. That's the goal.
You mentioned archive.org. Their earliest content is from 1996. So if you only rely on archive, you can't go before that.
No.
Before 1996, actually.
Yeah, 1996, and then I think 2014 is the last time there's any saved AOL specific data. Yeah.
Drag out my old Mac Classic and see what's saved on that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Macintosh and the PC. Oh my gosh, they're so different.
Yeah.
So different. I mean, I've somewhat figured out how to get Mac 3.0 working to some extent. Like some things work, some things don't. But I don't have a good debugger, and I don't have what's called the star tool or the master tools for an actual AOL 3 client. It was just a set of tools that you could install for people that had account privileges to use it.
Right.
So it would bring up a bit of a debugger window and whatnot where you could actually see the streams coming in, the actual packet data, and it would break that packet data down into the form definitions or the FDO, so you could actually see what's coming in and out. I don't have any of that stuff, so AOL 3 has been a pain in the arse to get working. But I mean, I've got it to the point where you can log in, you can create screen names, you can go into chat rooms and use the buddy list, and instant messages were working for a time and then they stopped, and so it's it's kind of a hit and miss with Macintosh, but the Windows PC works pretty good.
Okay.
So Windows is first and Mac comes somewhere after, I guess.
Yeah, I try to do them both simultaneously. So when I finish working on pieces of code for Windows, then I try to port it over to the Macintosh part, and then try to make sure that that's working with the Macintosh. Generally, it doesn't, so then I have to do a lot of rewriting and then tinkering and long nights trying to figure out, okay, well, why is it not working? But yeah, it's
those weird Mac days, because nowadays everything is more or less, it's well, I mean, Apple is now making their own chips, but for a long time, as an x86, a lot of the stuff was very similar, or it was Unix based. But back then, with AOL 3 and earlier, you're working with 68K machines or Power PCs or something, and it's a totally different animal. And the classic Mac OS is just chaos.
Agreed. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's got its own beauty, right?
Yeah.
It's got its own beauty. Yeah.
So, are you actually working with other projects or researchers, or are you actually looking for working with other people, or is that kind of a one-man show and that's it? I mean, you said you're not really going out there, but on the other hand, you also said you have a Patreon, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, I have a Patreon to help with server costs and whatnot, and it's to give me at least a couple hours extra time to work on it, because I spend all my time at work, so I don't have a lot of time for it. But the Patreon helps a lot. I really appreciate those guys. And I talked with Philip Heller, who's the guy who created the Prodigy Reloaded project. And he and I have plans to couple these together so that we can do chat rooms and messaging between the two projects. So yeah, and there's we were conversing with the Nina project, and they were working on AIM and AOL 4, but there was, I don't know, something kind of happened with those guys, and they kind of just disappeared from the scene. So
Ooh, that's
yeah,
ugly. That's ugly.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean,
Yeah, it happens.
So I
Yeah.
wonder, are you a software developer or researcher or some kind of things in your real life? Or
no,
is it all self-taught? Really? Yes?
it's all self-taught. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, I think it was like in 1999 or something like that. I got a 2600 Hacker Quarterly magazine, and there was an article in it about Python, this new language called Python, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, sounds interesting. I'm gonna have to learn that one day. It was like
Wow.
24 years later, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna learn Python for this project while I try to black box this stuff and make this server. So yeah, I basically learned Python to do this. Yeah, I'm not a software engineer at all, like in the least.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm so glad that there are people around like you. I mean, we had people like Thomas Cherry Holmes before on the podcast, and many people would actually, exactly, and many people would actually say this is just a waste of time, and why would you want to restore the AOL experience? Be happy the times are gone, They were crap
Yeah, I know.
anyway, just repeating the common
Yeah.
sentiment of what I hear, that I collect
Mhm.
retro stuff myself, it's all considered trash by the layman, so
Yeah, and then like 30 years down the road, they'll be in the same state of mind as we are now about AOL and their stuff. So, I mean, eventually they'll get to that stage and they'll realize, okay, now I know why these guys spent all this time working on this project.
right.
We're getting old. All this stuff is dying off, and nobody seems to want to care about it anymore. And it's like such an important part of our history and the history of social media and the internet. And just to see it all just trashed, like it's meaningless, is like it's heartbreaking. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's
Exactly
why a
my
lot of us
thoughts.
bring it back.
So that
Yeah.
means 30 years down the road, your stuff will be in a museum, Project
Yeah.
P from Mike Kilingbeck. There it
Yeah. I mean, maybe it'll be on my gravestone, Project P3OL founder.
Awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super, super amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really hope that this interview helps you to get more out there and get the project more known, even though you said you don't like to, beg for money or whatever, but in the end.
Yeah, because that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm begging, like, please give, But
But you're
I mean,
also doing something for it,
yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I have this. I don't know. Maybe it's an ego problem or something. I don't know. I'll get over it. Because yeah, I'd love to be able to spend more time doing this. Because by the time I get home, it's like so late. I'm just beat tired, and I want to work on it, but I know I shouldn't, because I'm just gonna mess a bunch of crap up, and then I'll have to figure out what I did wrong. So yeah, but it would be nice to be able to, at least get a good 8 hours every few days in working on it. That
Nine
that,
to
that
nine to
I'd love
five,
that.
9 to 5:30, right?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it'd be
Awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd also Philip Heller also invited me to VCF West in August this year, but I mean, financially I can't do that, so maybe I should start. Hey, you guys, somebody want to help me make that trip to showcase with Philip. So thought about a GoFundMe and all that kind of stuff, but yeah,
I mean, VCF SoCal is happening in a few days.
Mhm.
We actually had them in the podcast recently. So VCF is actually the place to showcase such projects.
I mean, depending where are you located?
I'm in Canada, Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're a bit over there.
Yeah, I'm a ways away. I mean, I wouldn't be able to walk or hitchhike, but
Well, no, I'm on the East Coast. I'm over by like New Jersey, that area. So, we've got VCF East here. And I was going to say, if you're closer to this, go to VCF East, but you're not closer to this.
No.
Yeah.
Feller's in Colorado, so that's why he goes to the VCF West all the time. And yeah, it was really cool that he invited me over. I really hope I can go, because that'd be sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to meet all those people.
Yeah, it's a fun festival.
Yeah, I've never been to one either. So, being like closet case nerdy myself, I have never gone to any of these showcases or festivals or anything, and I really need to. Getting too old now, so
me neither. Despite we have them in Germany and in Austria and so as well, which is actually interesting. VCF is one of those few festivals that is around the world, so it's not only US centric, which is actually quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Being antisocial, like most of us, nerds, it's hard to get out there and converse with the general public. So there's that battle we have to go through too.
Yeah. I mean, to me, you appear quite talkative. You're not super silent or whatever.
Oh yeah, I got my tea. That's why.
Interesting.
Speaking of vintage machines, is there anything specific you need to run it, or will it run on like a modern PC, like AOL 3.0?
It somewhat does work on Windows 10, Windows 11 using the compatibility mode, but the earliest that you can go is Windows XP, and for some reason there's rendering issues with some of the windows in the client. For some reason it won't render any of the frames or whatnot, so the window objects will kind of get stuck and you won't be able to move them around.
So so your recreation is NT based. Okay.
Well, no, it works on 95, 98. It basically you just use whatever AOL 3 client you can on whatever operating system that you can to connect to the server. So I have not altered or changed any of the client software at all. So it's whatever it is. So AOL 16 bits will work if you're using a 16-bit machine. So, but yeah, generally you can use it on real hardware. Wine under Linux works with using the 32-bit Wine prefix and the Windows 95 setup for that. Real hardware. I do my testing with VMware and a Windows 98 SE install.
Okay.
That's what I use. I started with VirtualBox, but I have so many issues with it trying to capture the mouse pointer that it was just too frustrating. So I use VMware. Yeah.
So what did I miss here? You said earlier it requires Windows XP at least because of some drawing issues, or was that another thing I missed now? Because
no, Windows XP just has some rendering issues with the client software.
Okay, so I misunderstood
it.
So I misunderstood it. So Windows XP actually has the rendering issues. Okay, so it's better to use either older or newer Windows versions, right?
Yeah, it's better to use the older ones because you're going to run into rendering issues because the compatibility mode with Windows, all the newer versions of Windows only goes to Windows XP, right? So, and that's the one where it has rendering issues, isn't XP itself, both hardware and emulation. So you're better off using 95, 98.
So I would need a virtual machine or old hardware first to have the best experience.
Yeah, to have the best, most stable experience. Yeah.
But wouldn't it be great to have a recreation of the client as well that works on modern Windows versions?
He's not recreating the client; he's creating the server.
I know,
Yeah.
but wouldn't it be nice on top if you were doing that as well? So to
Oh
make
gosh,
Here's some more work for you.
that's
Yeah,
I'd have to redo the entire rendering engine for the FDO 91 language. That's beyond me. So if
Okay.
somebody wants to, they can go right ahead. I'm just doing server.
Too bad.
I don't want to get into trouble with AOL by messing with their
Yeah,
Yes,
have
well,
they-
I mean, they're still
properties,
around
so.
in a way, right?
Yeah, have they noticed this at all? Have they said anything to you or anybody or?
Yeah, last year, year before, we got notified by Yahoo to change the name and to make sure that the public knows that the project isn't endorsed by them at all.
Okay, yeah, because I saw that. I was a little bit confused at the beginning because I saw it was under both AOL and Project P3OL. So
Yeah. So
Okay.
because AOL is registered to Yahoo,
Right.
they were like, "Hey, you can't use that."
right,
So changed it to Peel.
Interesting. Now the question is, Yahoo themselves are half dead as a company.
well, yeah, I don't know. There's much they could do to you.
Yeah, I mean, well, I
Yeah.
mean, anything they can do is not
Yeah.
worth the risk that I want to take. So
True.
Yeah.
Yahoo is actually owned 90% by Apollo Global Management and 10% by Verizon Communications.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just to mention.
Both of which have more money than I will ever see. So I'm gonna
Right.
try to stay out of their crosshairs.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just thinking because when the Habitat was this kind of like MMORPG, like one of the very first ones. Again, it ran off of the Q-Link thing, and
Right.
when they were trying to rebuild it, they got in touch with I think it was someone from AOL, and they gave them one of the old servers, or they tracked down one of the old servers that it ran on, and someone from AOL gave them whatever they had still laying around the office about it to re-implement it. But they were doing it for a museum, for like a
Right.
like an exhibit. So that might have been more. Plus, I don't think Quantum Lake is a brand anyway. I think it's a brand of cell phones or something in Mexico.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, we did contact Yahoo and some of the employees of AOL that have been there since the start, and spoke with them and asked them if they were legally able to give us any information and whatnot about this stuff, but most of them declined. The ones that said yeah, sure, were all retired and whatnot, and basically all that they did was gave us a missing chapter of what's already out there. Basically,
Right.
it's already on the internet. And that was pretty much about it. Yeah.
Nobody wants to burn their fingers
No.
by being too helpful, I guess. All right.
Yeah, from what we can tell is that when the takeover happened, when AOL shut down in 2014 or whatever, they just trashed everything.
Ooh. Okay.
So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, there's technically nothing there. I mean, maybe there is in a back closet somewhere, and one day it'll come out. But yeah, as far as we know, it's all trashed, all gone.
Wow, that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, nobody cared about preservation back then,
Yeah, not really. Not really. Nobody thought a bunch of old time nerds would want to go and explore AOL again, right? So.
Right.
Yeah.
We should go find a building in Vienna, Virginia, and break in, see if there's anything laying around.
Yeah, if that building is even still occupied, who knows?
So is there a milestone project? Any planning you have? When do you consider your project finished? Anything like that, or is it just
No
as good
milestones
as it goes?
because then I'd have to, once I set a goal, then I have this one track tunnel vision, and then nothing else exists. So my kids starve while I sit here and try and work on this thing. So I just do what I can, and then when there's anything major and super important, then I'll call that a milestone.
Okay.
Which, yeah, so far it's not much. Not much other than chat rooms work, instant messages work, emails work.
And that's the basic, hallmark of AOL. That's what most people went on for.
Yeah, surprisingly, we get a lot of people. None of the channels work. None of the channels work. Yeah, because none of it exists anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And now the most important question: am I able to run AOL on it?
Yes, you are.
What is AOL? Actually, never heard of that.
It's one of the first hacker programs to come around for AOL, where you could do all kinds of nefarious things with it.
Yeah, generate credit card numbers and fake accounts and
fake
Ooh.
accounts.
Not that I've ever used that before.
Cough, cough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I test with AOL, with Chocolate X Punter, Devil Draw, who incidentally is in my Discord too, the actual guy who created Devil Draw.
Awesome.
What else do I use? Mib tools. Oh, there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many. But I try to test with as much as I can to see that I'm getting everything right enough that those old tools will work again. So a majority of them do. So yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I think it was on day 3 of release, we had like 100 or 200 people join a chat room, and most of them had tools. So they're scrolling all these cool macros in the room. It was just an amazing time. My camera keeps going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're back centered. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that means if the project has no goals and no milestones are set, it's going on in eternity.
Yeah, it'll just keep going until it's done. Yeah.
And
I don't plan on ever stopping.
Definition of done is when it's exactly that's exactly my point of the question. Will it ever be done? That's the thing.
Yeah. With as much content as there was on AOL, it'll take me probably 3 lifetimes just to recreate it all and bring it back. So
So it's more like
so much.
It's more like the way is the destination.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to keep me out of the dark space.
Awesome.
And just have fun and just yeah. Pretty much.
So you mentioned your family briefly. So what's their thought on that?
Completely unsupportive. They don't support me at all because I'm a nerd and they're not, I guess. So, but yeah.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
It is what it is, I guess. I still keep doing it. Not going to deter me. That's what I want to do. So.
Right. I mean, you are doing a service for mankind, you could say. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah, they can play on their iPhones and all that kind of stuff and all this fancy new Snapchats and TikToks, and I'm gonna work on AOL. Heck yeah.
Awesome.
I'm gonna try to set that up.
Of course you do.
Heck yeah.
I know you. I know you. Yeah. But as you heard, it's difficult on a Mac, so
Well,
probably
I've got a
easier.
PC right over there.
Ah,
I've got a Windows 98 machine in the garage.
mm,
So
Oh, look at that.
yeah.
right.
You can be on there scrolling the chat rooms all by yourself. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do that with Q-Link, so yeah.
Heck yeah.
So where can people find more out about your stuff?
On our Discord, which is Discord. I forget the exact URL now. I guess it would be better just to go to Yahoo, or not Yahoo, Yahoo, YouTube, and search for @Peel P3OL, and then that'll direct you to my YouTube page where you can get all the information of the Discord link, Patreon, and how to get things set up and working. So, but the Discord is where most of the information is for getting set up in the under Get Set Up channel and Support channel.
Awesome.
In Discord.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what's your Patreon? Because you mentioned it before.
It's oh, that's a good question. I got to make sure that I changed the URL to that.
No worries, Jörn. We are not live.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make.
I've got it pulled up in front of me. This project
offend.
_P3OL.
Project _ P3OL. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll put a link to that in the podcast description, of course.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming. Totally.
Yeah.
Interesting to talk about that.
Yeah.
How somebody spends time recreating a thing that is actually basically, you would say, almost hopeless. No. Well, I mean, that's a challenge, right? If it wasn't
Yeah.
such a challenge, then somebody else would have done it before, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm learning, right? Like nothing that I'm doing is going to waste, right? So I'm not wasting my time. I'm learning new things. I'm learning about like the P3 protocols. I'm learning time management is probably the most significant thing.
Right.
New languages, networking and all that kind of stuff. All the stuff I didn't really tinker with too much before, and I'm learning all about it. So.
Yeah.
And in the end, when you got something to work, it's like the A-team. I love it when the plan puts together, you know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like it's humbling and exciting and
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as you mentioned, there are a lot of more people like you, and I'm glad to hear that you're actually working with other projects to make an interface and to interact. Actually, that's kind of important, you know. Not keeping it to yourself, you know.
No. I want to try to make it. I think that was the whole reason why I used the IRC backend, was so that it's easier for other projects, to communicate with my project, because it's just IRC, so there's nothing special about it.
Right.
Just looks fancy.
Yeah, it's just IRC. That's all.
Right.
Well, I've had a few of CBC Spark Radio. Interview with those guys. Vice magazine had a
Vice magazine. Whoa, that's a big one.
That's one of the things that I've got up on my screen here, is the interview with when it was still the AOL at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big one.
They misrepresented a bit, because it's the first line is a team of nostalgic programmers have reverse engineered AOL.
Mm-hmm.
A team?
Yeah, a team.
Yeah, there a bunch of guys came together to help me out and get things started, but I'm the sole programmer right now.
Right.
Yeah, but there's other members there. Sam Fox, Zor was a member, Tommy D. Who else am I missing? Sig, Devil's Misfit, Slushy. Who else is in there? Pad.
I
Like
see.
a lot of old school AOL hacker dudes.
Ooh,
They all came together to help me out and get
Awesome.
things started.
awesome,
That's awesome.
awesome.
Very
Heck
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vice is a big one, definitely. If they became aware of you, then you made it, you know.
Yeah, Vice was from Pad. He was doing a lot of shilling, so he got the Vice interview for us and whatnot. Yeah. CBC Spark Radio was just fluke, I think. They noticed it from Vice. I think that's how it worked out. So
Ooh, yeah.
yeah. So
You are getting there. You're getting famous.
yeah. Yeah. So I told my kids one day I'm gonna be famous. And then you guys calling me a nerd all the time is gonna backfire. Yeah.
Right, right. Awesome, awesome.
Plus,
Well,
he's a drummer. That's cool too.
Yeah, drum set.
Yeah. Very nice.
That's something
Yeah.
I started.
One of them too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I before the pandemic happened, I think it was 2018. I decided I wanted to learn how to play drums, so I started playing drums for a couple of years there, learning it, and then pandemic happened, and then everything kind of just went downhill from there, and I haven't touched them since, which is a shame.
yeah, I mean, if everybody is stuck at home, you really can't make people nervous by playing drums all day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it looks like you are sitting in a cellar anyway, kind of.
Yeah, down in my little basement, my dungeon.
Basement dungeon, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's.
This is actually my living
dollhouse
room
in the
here.
back. Oh, nice. I like the arcade cabinet there.
Right. Yes.
I've got one that I've been. I'll see if I can.
Oh, nice, nice.
Oh.
Is it JAMA as well, or are you using MAME and a PC inside?
It's MAME with a PC board inside.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I went classical JAMA connector.
Yeah.
Why go easy if you can buy the PCB still for a lot of money?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time.
Yes.
Totally amazed to talk to you
sure,
about
guys.
that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. To make you more famous and to make people more aware of this project.
We should do a follow up down the road too, when if new things, if new features come in, new things happen.
Yeah, that'd be interesting too. Yeah, I'm trying to. There's a audio streaming. It's like a radio,
right?
That AOL used so you could stream audio. I've been working on that a little bit too, so I'd like to be able to get some of these podcasts and whatnot with their own little site on there where people can go on there and actually listen to them.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's a plan.
So
once I figure out the protocol out.
So to our 50 plus directory entries, we could also count then the Project P3OL as a source. That would be kind of interesting. With the same sound quality as in the 90s, early 2000s, right? Because modem dial-up,
yeah, that gorgeous mono-ish,
exactly.
crackly
56 kilobits,
Yeah.
Oh, I remember AOL Messenger when you did voice call, you actually had push to talk, and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Surprisingly, the JP Morgan compression protocol that AOL used to compress their audio and images and stuff like that to I guess to shrink the images and all that down so that it can actually be sent super fast over the the modem connection. It's actually super efficient.
Really?
Like it's amazing. Yeah. So I imagine the audio would probably sound, pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, especially nowadays you have codecs like Ogg Vorbis, which actually is smaller than MP3, but still has the same quality of sound. So nowadays we have a lot of more efficient video audio codecs, I guess.
Yeah. So I'll let you guys know when I get that working, and
Awesome.
we'll test out some audio with it for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, and then people can listen to this episode on the actual platform. Like, hey, I was there,
Yeah. Oh, something I forgot to mention is the guys over at ProtoWeb, Oliver. I spoke with them, and even though their ProtoWeb is a free service to use, I still wanted to gain permission to let them know that I was using it in the project. So we're now officially kind of using the ProtoWeb proxy so that you can actually use Internet Explorer in the client.
Nice.
Ooh.
So you can surf the web to some degree. It's all based on any of the sites that they actually have taken and chopped up or whatever to make them compatible with the proxy. So you're not going to get too much of the modern day stuff, but a lot of the older retro stuff is there and working.
Our homepage should be retro enough, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Amiga chokes on it.
Yeah. I've been looking for some sort of module or anything that would strip out all the modern HTML garbage, so that it just basically just throws it out as like an HTTP 1 protocol from the 90s, so that you can just proxy it through that, and then you can view any website you want without the bells and whistles, of course, but something like that would be nice.
The Contiki browser is doing and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of that stuff, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do need to do more research on it, but these are all things that's brewing in my mind for later on.
Yeah. Now I totally forgot the name of this person who invented it. Let me have a look.
Is that what Kontiki does?
Kontiki was actually a project by Adam Dunkels, who invented micro IP and micro TCP IP protocols, and he is the founding father of Internet of Things. He invented the protocol and all those IoT stuff. So
cool.
And Kontiki is actually his operating system that works on 8-bit machines, including the Commodore 64 and the Game Boy, Atari, and so on. So his operating system also has a browser in it that allows you to visit modern websites. Well, the thing is, the version I have was the one that didn't have HTTPS included. So back then, before most pages were encrypted, HTTPS, SSL encrypted. So yeah. So if that is something that interests you, I made an interview with Adam Dunkels as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out for sure. I've got the site up now, so I'm gonna do some research on that. Oh, before I forget, I should also mention we have a member who's working on setting up a dial-up system so that you can actually dial-up call.
Really?
So he's got, like, I don't even know what they're called, but this whole wall of landlines coming in so that you can dial a 1-800 number or whatever and get access to the project through a modem.
Awesome.
So he's slowly working on that too.
That is really cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
A lot of people working on preserving such things.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You get to hear that again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can still nowadays with fax machines.
It's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's actually actually it's almost the same because
Almost.
you're using the same handshake.
Yeah.
The only difference is that many fax machines actually suppress the handshake and dial-up process, so it doesn't audiolize it. But in essence, it's still the same method of dialing in and handshaking. It's very similar. If you there's actually on YouTube, there's actually one scientist, a woman that actually broke down all the meaning of the different sound waves.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And so and she made a diagram you can buy. So on the so according to the wave output, you can actually see, okay, this is where the modem dials, this is where the handshake is processed.
Yeah. When we first went public, there was a period where I asked people if they would want to hear the dial-up sound during login, and a lot of people said yes. So I added that feature to the login, and then people started saying it's taking too long to log in. It's getting annoying, so I removed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, at first it would go through that whole dial-up sequence and before you actually connected.
Germany and Japan are two of those countries that still use fax machines in doctor offices and stuff. So sometimes when you are sitting in a waiting room as a doctor, you can hear dial-up sounds, and you're thinking like, "What's that?" And like, no, it's a fax machine. It's a fax machine.
Yeah. Lots of people still use them for sure.
Even
I don't think they're going to go away too soon.
I mean, a nice modern technique from 1976. Was it 76 or 77? I always
somewhere around there with Xerox, yeah.
Exactly. I always forget which year it was. Was the fax machine invented 76 or 77? One of those 2 years. Sure. Now you got me there.
Yeah. That's what happens.
Fax machine.
These rabbit holes become endless.
Yeah. Let's see, the fax machine, when it was invented. Okay. Okay. It's not really putting a year to it. All right. Oh yes, well, in 1888, English inventor Bidwell constructed the first scanning photograph. Okay. So I'm actually wrong. So the first machine was actually 1880. Okay.
That's a bit. Oh yeah, that's a bit back then.
Right.
That's crazy. A long time ago.
Okay, yeah. I totally got my my history wrong here. I'm in shock, but
yeah, well, we can't remember everything. Come on.
Right. That's true. Well, and you see, even we are using modern technology.
That's right.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the less you know.
We could have used AOL messaging voice call for this. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Right.
One day when I have it working, we'll give it a try too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Including the occasional disconnect.
Yeah, we gotta have that. Yeah. Simulate your younger sister picking up the phone.
Yeah. That's actually the thing. That's actually the thing. My first I had an external dial-up modem. What it would do would actually clear the line, hang up the current call, and then dial in, right? But then when later on I got an internal Windows analog modem, that actually didn't hang up the call, but just tapped into the line. So you could actually hear what my mom was speaking on the telephone because it was coming out of the speaker of the PC, and then my PC was speaking. I was like, "What's going on?" My PC
I remember
speaks. Yeah. So they were
Mom, get off the phone.
exactly. So there were different implementations of that dial-up process. Actually,
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember that. Oh my God, good times, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very good times. That's why it's important to bring it back, man. You guys probably haven't smiled this much in a long time, right?
Yeah.
Not about
thinking
this
about it.
topic. Not about this topic. That's true.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mike, for hanging with that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
we crashed the hour. We went over it.
That's okay. I was worried it was only going to be like 20 minutes because I didn't really have much to say.
Well, you got a lot more to say, especially
That's
after
good.
the interview. But we can cut that in. It's no problem, We
Yeah,
can
for sure.
rearrange it so it will sound like fluid. Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to
Well,
be nice.
and thanks, by the way, for taking the time off for us. I saw in the Discord group where you wrote like, "I took a day off for this, guys."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, otherwise I'd be working right now. So
Really appreciate it,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, most people we interview are freelancers. They can rearrange time as they please, or
Yeah, I wish.
self-employed or whatever, but not you.
No.
Awesome.
No.
Hope it was worth it to hang out with us on your
Heck
free
yeah.
day.
On my free day. That's right. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
been
Awesome.
nice. Been
Awesome.
playing with AI image generation while I was waiting for this podcast to start. So I put a bunch of images that I generated in the Discord in the images and links channel. So quite a few
You
cool
like
little
to
images in there.
you like to tinker.
I do, yeah, because like I have like ADD, ADHD, so I can't like sit still. I got to keep going. So yeah, my hands need to be doing something. So
I wonder what you're doing for a living. It must be something totally different, right? Something not nerdy.
no, it's I'm a cook.
You see, as I
I
said,
work at a restaurant. Yeah.
totally not tech related. That's what I thought.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but
no.
I got
But I went to school for welding and auto mechanics. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
certified to do. But I had an injury in 1998 that messed up my back, so I can't do that stuff anymore. So I've been cooking ever since because that's pretty much what I can do, and I don't come home dead. So
okay.
Nice.
So you didn't do panic buyings of toilet paper and noodles as we did
no,
in Germany during the pandemic.
no,
Everybody was buying noodles and toilet paper. The toilet paper thing was even so famous that
yeah.
Germany became famous for hamstering toilet paper during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There was a lot of that in Canada too. And one guy trying to return all of it that he purchased after the pandemic was over. They're like, no, you can't return that. Yeah, it was crazy.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like,
Awesome.
I don't need toilet paper. I got like magazines and flyers out the wahoo.
Ooh. Right.
Right?
Awesome.
Use
Awesome.
those. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So we will let you know when this is out, and
For sure.
have a nice rest of your day, Mike. Right.
Yeah, you too.
Regards to your family. They don't know what they are missing by not interested in your stuff.
Yeah, I know. Oh well, whatever. They will be interested one day when when they see their dad somewhere that they've never seen him before, kind of thing. Maybe in a magazine
or in Wikipedia or something,
or that. Yeah.
or
Then
in a
they'll be like,
documentary.
"Oh."
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be cool. That's kind of what we're doing right now.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
A
Yeah.
little bit of a documentary, I'd say.
Yeah.
You see, you could make a Kickstarter out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a oh geez, the name just escaped me now. He's gonna kick my butt. Oh my goodness. One of our members does podcasts and whatnot for AOL too.
Oh.
And he's done a whole bunch with a lot of old hackers and whatnot, but for some reason my ADD brain cannot place the name. AOL Underground.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, he's got a lot. I've got 2 parts with him that I did about the project, and he's talked to a lot of old hackers and actually some members of the AOL at the time in the 90s when they were like overhead account type people, or actually in-house workers and coders and whatnot, programming the servers for AOL and whatnot. He's got some conversations with a lot of those people too.
If you're
So
interested in
check
that,
him out.
listen to our 2 interviews we did with Randy Farmer.
Okay,
Also
I will.
Go to. Oh, I thought we were talking about putting it in the podcast, but I was gonna say we'll go to AOLunderground.com where you can actually listen to the podcast.
Yeah, you can go to AOL.com too.
Yeah.
What was the names again?
Randy Farmer. That's the guy. And it was actually so interesting because we had him as a podcast, and then he was like, wow, there's so much things that is historical that we didn't talk about. And then we brought him in back for the historical interview. So we actually did 2 different interviews with Randy Farmer. So
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it always is. So you get talking, and then you kind of go beyond the scope of what you're
right.
focusing on. Then there's
But
more
we didn't have so much that people asked to come in a second time for a different type of interview. So
yeah.
that was the first then. Yeah. And actually lucky because he had a heart surgery, so he almost didn't make it to the interview.
Yeah.
So lucky he's still alive, you know.
Cool. I'll send both you guys. Well, I'll send some registration keys for you guys.
Awesome.
So you can create some accounts. I'll send them to you on Discord.
But I would need some client, I guess.
Yeah.
Save it.
I have no AOL client somewhere hanging around.
Get one.
Yeah, come on. Weren't you just talking about archive.org?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Archive.org will have a VMware image that you can use. That has all the drivers ready.
Wow.
And then you can just install the client from there. There you go.
Like they do with those retro games, Windows 3.1 games.
Mm-hmm.
You get an icon, you double click, and all it does is running Windows 3.1. And then when you close the game, it also shuts down the virtual machine. And then, wow. The kind of lengths people are going through just to be able to play an old game is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't really need that much processing power for it, right? You can run it on a watch nowadays.
Right. And with SSDs, you have like 0 loading time. It's like super quick, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome. Well, good. So we let you go now. Right.
Okay, guys.
Talk to you then.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.